A new era of Nightwing is here, and we're here to talk all about it. Hello, everyone. It's your boy Comic Sheik, and I'm joined by my friend and fellow host Firefly. So you can really just call us the Comic Sheiks at this point. Anyway, today is an exciting day. As you know, I am the Nightwing guy, or one of the Nightwing guys. I do love Nightwing. Look at that! Look at that! Full of Nightwing claws and stuff there. Look at that! There's a bunch of old Nightwings there. There's a little Manifex Nightwing here, and we got the latest issue, the start of a new era for Nightwing. So, as you know, last week we got the end of the Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo Nightwing run, which has been going on for the past 4 years or so. Bruno Redondo did have some time off the book after issue 101, something like that, and then he came back on for the final arc, so that was beautiful. Some fantastic artwork. But we're not here to talk about Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. We are here to talk about Nightwing number 119, the first issue of the all-in era of Nightwing. And luckily, they did not cancel or relaunch the numbering. They kept the numbering going, which we love. And yeah, we've got a stellar creative team here for you. We got writer Dan Waters, artist Dexter Soy, colorist Veronica Gandini, and letterist Wes Abbott. So a fantastic creative team. We've been looking forward to this issue for a while. And Ali and I actually got to read this a while back. Well, I read this. Ali, I was too busy, but he did read the absolutes. I got to read this a while back, before FOC even. You know, we do work at a comic shop part-time. We do get those opportunities. Really loved it then. I was telling people, if you're, a lot of people have had some criticisms of Tom Taylor era. If you're not excited for that, this is the place to go. And let me tell you, it is an amazing start to the run.
I mean, it's a different tone immediately, right? From the first page, you could tell this book is going to take on a different tone. I just want to ask the audience real quick. Could you guys tell that Nightwing is his favorite character? Let us know in the comments. But yeah, it's
I don't even have the original art up. I have so many like Nightwing pages and conditions too. It's bad.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually ended up reading 118 and 119 like within 5 minutes of each other back to back. So I really got to notice, I guess, the difference in both the art and the writing. But my first impressions of 119, it's definitely very different, like we said, from the tone, the art style, and even what the theme of the story is going to be. I can't say we kind of know what it is already, but the thing that I liked, one of the things I liked the most about it is that it was both a seamless transition from the previous run. Like if you do read them back to back, if you read both runs back to back, it feels like they kind of go into each other very well. And at the same time, it doesn't really depend on the previous run that much.
Yeah, so let's get into it. We got some pages to show you here, and in the first page, it starts out with a new villain. An interesting place to start. This new villain's really creepy. He has almost a little bit of cosmic angle to him, at least in the sense that he's kind of playing with reality. At least that's what the impression we're getting.
He's definitely framed. He's definitely framed as a puppet master for sure.
For sure, yeah. He looks like one of those puppets from Devil May Cry 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Love the design. Love that it's a circus themed villain. As you can see the pages here, he has some really cool dialogue as well. There once was a sweet circus boy. He would twirl and fly with mommy and daddy high above the big top. That's a really funny, different take. They do give you a brief, explanation of Nightwing's origin real quick through those panels, and you get to see him with the Nightwing puppet as well. And yeah, we can see him along with the Titans on the second page. And clearly this new character has nefarious plans for Dick Grayson. I really love how in the in the third page of the issue, he kind of pulled the comic book panel and then puts Nightwing in the room with all these new gangsters. So there's obviously going to be some spoilers for this issue. If you recall, in Nightwing number 118, some of the biggest players in Bludhaven are now taken off the board because we had Heartless pass away. I'm not going to talk about how. Again, spoilers. We had Tony Zuko get killed, and we had Blockbuster die again earlier on. So there's a huge power vacuum in Nightwing, and on this page, we are introduced to the new players of the run. So we've got Mama Bear, who Ali said looks just like a Fortnite character.
Straight out of Fortnite. I forgot what the skin was called, but it's straight out of Fortnite.
She's leading this new faction called the Teddies, and they're like an underground faction in this town vying for power. We've got Boss Bludgeon, and he's leading the Clean Cut crew. Really cool. He almost looks like is it the guy from Street Fighter. Is it Bison? I forget his
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about though.
yeah,
But yeah.
something like that. Yeah. And then we've got Dr. Proboscis, who is the leader of the Fly Boys. I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't expect Fly Boys to be ran by a doctor, but it is what it is. It's cool. I love the designs of all these characters, by the way. When I looked at Dr. Proboscis, I actually got a Man Bat vibe out of him, so I really like that. And then we've got the Blockbuster gang, which obviously are, I'm assuming, the implied remnants left over
Yeah.
from the Blockbuster's crew. So immediately it gives you that sense of vibe of the first Nightwing volume, the one from 1996, where it was like this. You really get to see the grittiness and the sliminess of Bludhaven. There's this general color tone that I really love. It's almost this like there's these bland colors that are like brown, interesting hues of blues, like in strange greens, and it really makes Bludhaven kind of feel dirty and mysterious, and like there's like this dark criminal element there, as it should be. So yeah, awesome characters. And as you see, Nightwing is at the scene of the crime. He's hanging off. One thing I love about Dexter Soy's artwork is that you get some really interesting angles and compositions in terms of the action of the issue, the way it's choreographed. And I really like that about Dexter Soy. I enjoyed his work during the Red Hood era run, and I really love his work here so far. And he was saying, it's different than Redondo. He prefers Redondo. I personally agree. I do like Redondo a little bit more. I just think he's probably the best Nightwing artist there is. I love all of them. I love Scott McDaniel. I love, there's tons of them. But yeah, but like I own art from all these guys. Right? I own art from Redondo, I own art from McDaniel. Don't own any art from Soy yet, but hopefully one day. But yeah, I do love the artwork in this issue. I love that panel where he's throwing the Eskrima stick, and you could see the motion in the stick, kind of like it is on the cover. Really awesome stuff.
I want to add to kind of adding or maybe a little bit of foreshadowing for the main villain, which not sure if we got a name for him yet, but let's just call him the Puppet Master for now. Is that what in the page where you see him kind of pull the comic book panel back and place Nightwing in there? Later on, when Dick is talking to Oracle, he says, "Yeah, the tip paid off." So I just took that as the Puppet Master is the one who tipped Nightwing to go to that meeting to maybe kill him or do something. We don't know his motives yet, but
yeah,
that's a nice piece of foreshadowing right there.
yeah. And we were talking about comparing this somewhat to Tom Taylor's Nightwing run. A lot of people were criticizing that run for having Nightwing be too incompetent, and these aren't my words. I'm just talking about what some other people have concerns they voiced, or Nightwing relying too heavily on the Titans. Well, luckily, I can tell you that there's none of that here. The Oracle is still around, but she's not a Batgirl. She's fulfilling more of an Oracle role in this issue, which is really nice. I gotta say, one thing Dan Waters said about this book, he said one thing I love about Dexter Soy's art is like you really feel the action, like the punches really hurt. And damn, like there's a scene where in this page where Nightwing sticks the Eskrima stick in the dude's mouth.
Yeah.
Straight up, that's brutal right there. He shattered a few teeth from that. So that's really awesome. Love seeing how competent and confident Nightwing is in this issue. Really feels like this is the Nightwing we grew up reading in the 1996 volume, where he wanted to do everything on his own. He went to Bludhaven to be his own man, to start his own journey, to be his own hero, to carve out his own legacy. And I feel like we're back to that, the roots of that kind of thing. So it's really nice to see. Yeah, he handles the whole thing really well. I guess the bummer is, again, this is spoilers, so please make sure you read the issue first. But the bummer is that there's an explosion on the next page, and I think presumably we lose a lot of the players that we just met, the four gang leaders and their respective troops. I mean, I'm sure that, again, with the whole concept of power vacuum, they'll find a new leaders to replace them. But I just love the design of all four of those characters. So it's a bit of a bummer, but I'm sure there's a lot to look forward to in future issues. That being said, we go back to the civilian life of Dick Grayson as he's handled this whole situation. He's managed to survive the explosion of the warehouse just barely. And he goes home to, just deal with other things. And he sees that his half sister, Melinda, is dealing with some things. She says, you get an introduction in case you weren't reading Taylor's run. It says, I am the mayor. I'm always busy. And that's where he meets a new player in this issue. And immediately, you guys know, if you read comics, you've been around the park before, when we met Miss Pierce, that she's going to be an important character in this run immediately, right? They're setting the tone. And Miss Pierce already has this aura of mystery around her. Again, I love the character designs. I love Dexter Soy's artwork. I love this like this muddy like texture there is to it that almost like again adds the grit and grime of the feeling of Bloodhaven. And yeah, just I'm very curious to see how Miss Pierce is going to factor into this whole run. She does have some clever exchanges with Nightwing, and we find out that she's one of the heads of Spheric Solutions. So this company that Dick's been having issues with because obviously he's a philanthropic billionaire, right? And he
And
takes
it's
care of
not
Bloodhaven.
just Dick, right? Like they make sure to explain how the company is created to make weapons to fight superheroes or protect people from superheroes. And then they also bring up the fact that superheroes live among us here in Titan's Tower and Bloodhaven.
Yep.
And not only that, but we found out that somehow, whether from public pressure or from Spheric Solutions, that Melinda was kind of strong armed into
Yes.
militarizing the police force in Bludhaven using
Yeah.
Spheric Solutions weapons.
Reminds me of the Peacekeeper program in Batman.
Yeah, a little
Like
bit.
when they were doing that.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
I do. Did you feel like there's a sense of like hostility in her tone, almost
Oh,
like
definitely.
yeah, like you know
Definitely.
what I mean? Yeah, she's making
Definitely.
herself
And I think
known.
it's safe to assume that at this point she knows that Dick is Nightwing.
Oh, definitely. I feel like yeah, and by the end of the issue, that will come first, full circle.
Yeah.
So yeah, when Miss Pierce leaves the room, Dick obviously gives Melinda a look, and she says, I know, Dick." And he's like, "Why do you have a death dealer in your office?" Which I thought was a funny comment. Like he's judging her already. It's like, why are you, making deals with these kinds of shady individuals? So immediately that sets the tone for how Dick feels about this character and what her potential role might be in the series. I do really like, however, that he gets an idea further of what Spirit Solutions into when Melinda shows him the blueprints for upgrading police forces equipment. So it really makes you think like, okay, they're kind of overreaching. Yeah, like she's really trying to deal with a law in the city that is kind of it's not the greatest. So yeah, Dick responds by saying, "You're militarizing the most corrupt police force in America." And it's Melinda says, "Well, it sounds bad when you put it like that." So she's trying to say that she's backed into a corner. It's typical politics, right? Like you make promises to people, but then you still have to deal with your constituents and things like that. So there's a lot going on, and obviously we see that Dick's work is cut out for him right now. We could also see that in the panel where Oracle, after she said she overheard everything, she says, "Chin up, boy wonder," and he says, "You were listening to all that." And obviously he left it on deliberately. He likes it knowing that she's there. A little cutesy stuff between Babs and Dick. But you see that there is a poster on the wall that says Visioni. I'm sorry if I butchered that. But I feel like there's another character who's going to be clearly important, like in this run. They
I
wouldn't
didn't
put his
catch that.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't put his name there if he wasn't going to be an important
I
character.
wonder if
Right?
he's so. Melinda actually mentioned that there's like a mayoral election in 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he's
the
going
candidate.
to be the one running against her. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there. So that's another really cool world building. And as we can see in the panels while Dick is walking around, you can see that there's actually one of
Teddies.
The teddies, yeah, watching him. So they're keeping an eye on his movements, and even if they're not deliberately watching him, you get the sense that they're still around. So like, yeah, despite the explosion that happened earlier and the loss of the leader of the teddies, Mama Bear, the teddies are still a present force in the city. So it shows you that Nightwing has his work cut out for him even more. In the next page, we see that uh, 30 minutes ago that there was a posse of teddies that found a flyboy hustling in their neighborhood. So obviously the four gangs that we were introduced earlier, there's starting to be some really high rising tensions between them. Things are getting ugly. They tied him up to 2 superchargers in Florida.
That was brutal.
That was brutal.
That was
really
brutal.
That was really.
God,
I like cringed reading that, but like not like in a bad way, but like I was like, oh my god, that's scary, right? So yeah, this book is very serious. I love this because it goes back again to the tones of Bludhaven in the first volume. Bludhaven
much darker than the previous one.
Much darker than, much more corrupt than Gotham City. There's no hope, right? Like Dick would always say to Bruce, like in Gotham City, you would try someone and there's the hope, like, that would stick. You could never really do that in Bludhaven because it's so corrupt at every level, right? So that's really interesting. And then again, he keeps saying an hour ago, a gang of clean cutters sauntered into a blockbuster casino. There was a whole death there. So that's where we see Dick Grayson make his next entrance. And again, he's trying to interrupt the fights between the gangs, trying to get some control. We get some really cool paneling in the pages. You can see, some great action. Interesting that these guys look a little bit mutated, like the Doctor, their former leader. So I don't know, maybe they are like a different species, maybe some like lizard or something. It's like I'm not sure. They kind of look Frankenstein-y. Yeah. So there's that. And then in the next pages, we get to see that Dick is seriously upset about this whole thing. He also wants to get to the bottom of who murdered the bosses, but he's not going to bust them yet. He's going to give them a chance. But this is actually really clever for him because he tags them with a signal tracker so that he can find out where they're going, right? So, he pulls out the signal tracker so he knows where he's going.
He gives it to him, and he
gives
tells
them to him. Yeah.
So
he
he gives them the signal tracker. So I'm assuming he also can track it, yes, but it's also a way for them to contact Nightwing if something happens or they find out something, so that he could help them basically.
Yeah, and you could really see his influence from Batman because he makes the joke. He's like, "Listen, I'm the nice one." Everyone says it, but the way he's holding the guy's face, there's a bit of obviously aggression. He's trying to scare them. And
I love when he says, I love when he says, "I'm putting my foot down, and you don't want it to be on your neck." Like that. That was a hard line.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, just says he's walking away from them, and so Oracle tells him. She makes a funny remark saying, "Rousing speech, boy wonder. I do like it when you get all authoritative." So he's like, "Right, you can't say I didn't learn a trick or two from Batman." There it is. He's channeling, those things he learned from Batman, those intimidation techniques and all that. I do love that he manages to find. Is it like a warehouse, like one of the warehouses? Right?
Yeah, it looks like it. One of the company's warehouse, Spheric Solutions warehouses.
And that's where you get this amazing panel of this. It reminds me of Metal Gear. Like Metal Gear, right? Like this is like thing running at him.
He got the little exclamation point on top of his head because he got discovered. Yeah,
exactly. And then the thing just starts zapping him. These angles, and we'll have some visual supplementary for you to see of Nightwing just jumping midair, really doing that gymnastics thing he's been doing his whole life. Just love the angles, the shots, the colors, everything about this page is stunning. This is one of the things that had me super excited about seeing Dexter Soy's work on this book, and I can't wait to see more issues because this is the kind of stuff I love to see in a Nightwing comic book. These dynamic shots, they just add so much to the story. So that was an amazing page, and we see that Dick is fighting this machine. It's really taking everything for him to survive. And when we get to the last page, we find out that not only is the circus person who was narrating at the beginning, who plopped Dick into that warehouse, not only is he there, but he's actually working with Miss Pierce. So, bam!
The place was bombed. So this goes back to the whole puppet master motif that they started the issue with, right? It seems like, or they're trying to allude that they wanted Nightwing to go to this warehouse. They wanted him to get caught because they're going to blow up the whole place. And then the last line of the book leaves me very intrigued and with a lot of questions. It says, "So tell us, faithful servant of the Cirque du Sin, what does a bird in the circus tent mean?" And then the CEO of the company says, "Death. A bird means death."
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he definitely, it leaves me very curious. He definitely has some kind of connection to Nightwing. Mm-hmm. We don't really know yet, and that's really what you want from a first issue of a book, right? Or of a run. It wants you. Yes. It wants to hook. You want it to hook you in, leave you with more questions, leave you intrigued, and at the same time enjoyed what you've seen already. Because this is just a sample of what's to come.
And I don't want to be that guy. I'm not a hater, okay? I'm not a hater. I really enjoyed Redondo and Taylor's Nightwing run a lot. But this guy's already a better villain than Heartless. It's let's be real. This guy's already a better villain than Heartless. The design is better. The intrigue is more fascinating to me. I'm more curious to see. I already am more invested in the narrative of this villain than I was in Heartless. Because I just feel like with Heartless, we lost a lot of momentum. There was so much gap. But this guy, he already appeared at the start of the issue, and then he closed out the end of the issue. But like Andy said, he's woven into the narrative of most of what happens. I'd be very curious if this guy turns out to be the candidate that's running for the election. It's
oh wow, yeah.
Maybe it's another Zuko. Maybe the Zukos want revenge for Tony. Tony's death. Who knows?
Maybe
there's a lot going on there, and that would be really cool since Dick Grayson is the legacy of the Graysons, the living Grayson, who then becomes also like part of the Batman legacy, right? It'd be
Yes.
cool to see if there was a Zuko Jr. legacy, like someone carrying on the torch of the Zuko, someone even worse. It'd be really cool to see what that was like. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us today on the review of the first issue. Nightwing number 119 promises an exciting new start to the Boy Wonder, or the former Boy Wonder. Now, the let's just call it the Dick Grayson of it all. Very exciting stuff. I can't wait for the next issue. We like I said, I read this like almost a month ago, and I just reread it again today. Loved it. This is a very solid start to this new Nightwing run, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. What about you, Adi? Are you going to be checking this out?
Absolutely, absolutely. I haven't missed the Nightwing issue since the Taylor and Redondo run started, and it was bittersweet for it coming to an end because it's just been so long with whatever you want to say about it. But the issue 119 has been a fantastic start. Like I said, it's left me intrigued. It's left me with a lot of questions and curious to find out more. And I can't wait for issue number 2.
Yeah. So, what did you guys think about Nightwing number 119? Did you think it was a good issue? Are you excited for this new era of Nightwing? Are you going to be keeping up with the book? Are you going to check out number 120? Are you excited for this new villain? Do you have any thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time with the next issue of Nightwing.